Welcome back to Football Saturdays in the South. Being on the cover of a national magazine is a big deal, as we saw with Tommy Casanova. Well, Perry Tuttle graced the front of Sports Illustrated in January of 1982 as he led the Clemson Tigers to their only national title. Here's Mike Hogwood with the story of a man whose time in the spotlight continues to shine.
Perry Tuttle spends his days, much as any father of six would, playing catch.
You ready? Here we go. Yes! Way to go, bud. Nice throw.
Shooting hoops.
Oh.
And watching his son's track meet.
Go, boy! Go, boy! Go,
But today also includes a visit to the Orange Nation, to which he will always be a beloved figure. Though it's been over 25 years since his moment in the sun, Perry Tuttle still encounters that famous Sports Illustrated on an almost daily basis. He has long since realized that an entire generation of Clemson fans have grown up dreaming that they might have a moment like his one day. Though it may be his picture on the cover, Tuttle appreciates what that issue of SI symbolizes.
I get to represent Clemson. You know, I get to represent a group of guys for the 1981 team. This is, even though my picture is on the magazine, this is about Clemson.
Tuttle was far from a one-catch wonder. He graduated as Clemson's career leader in receptions and receiving yards, and his 17 touchdown catches by a wideout remain a Clemson record today.
Good, really good player. Good soft hands, could run. Mostly on, post routes or out routes. We didn't run a lot of different routes back then because we was always play action stuff or throwing the quick stuff. But he made a lot of good plays.
Despite his great success, Tuttle always found ways to become a better receiver.
I just remember just lying in bed on Thursday night and sometime Friday at the hotel and taking a football and just tossing it up to the ceiling 100 times. And then at times turn off the lights and try to catch it in the dark.
After an undefeated regular season, the 1981 Clemson Tigers had been matched up in the Orange Bowl against Tom Osborne and the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Perry Tuttle comes back at the ball and turns upfield.
With a 12-7 third-quarter lead and facing a 3rd and goal, Tuttle and quarterback Homer Jordan decided to go with a little improvisation that would end up making Tiger history.
Homer would say, hey, Tut, if I ever just nod my head, if I just get to if I break the huddle and nod my head, that means run to the corner of the end zone, and I'm just going to take 1 or 2 steps back and just sling it. And so Homer broke the huddle. If you watch breaking the huddle, Homer would look to me, and he would just nod his head. And so when I got to my line, my position, I had to make a quick decision.
3rd down coming up, 3rd and goal for the Clemson Tigers from outside the 15, lofted into the end zone. Perry Tuttle, touchdown Clemson.
And so I remember just going to the corner of the end zone and having to turn my body around and feeling the ball in my fingers. It felt soft. It didn't feel like I had to work for it. It became so natural that even when I fell to the ground, that it was only natural for me to get up and hold the ball up the way I did.
And Clemson wins the national championship of college football.
Several days after the Tigers' 22-15 win and Clemson's first national championship, Tuttle got his first look at the image that would define his career.
And I remember looking at it, and I remember just getting out of my chair, running to the hotel, going to my room, calling my mom and my family, and they said, "Where have you been?" Everybody is calling, and it was just incredible.
And that picture is a mainstay at Clemson now. I mean, you go anywhere in the building, you see that. They must be selling them on the internet, because I get about 2 a week to sign and send back to somebody and say, no, I've had this since 1981, and you know they're brand new.
I'm just so proud that they put my mug on this magazine, and it continues to be one of those door openers. This has really become a calling card for me.
He looks back fondly on that magic night, but Perry Tuttle is not defined by it. A man of strong faith, he's worked extensively with Pro Athletes Outreach. He's the chaplain for the Charlotte Bobcats, and recently finished his first book, The House of Jesse. It is that faith that has helped him through a blow much harder than any he ever took on the field.
A few years ago, I was diagnosed with this eye problem where the doctor really looked at me and it's almost like throwing a right hook at me, and that in 5 years I would be, if things didn't change, if there wasn't really a miracle, that I would be completely blind.
Who are you?
Cambridge.
Cambridge who?
Tuttle.
How many brothers and sisters you have?
I have 2 brothers.
Because of that, I've learned to number my days. So when I'm with my children, I have to be very intentional. So it's not just engaging with my children anymore.
This is Carson.
Hello.
This is my 14-year-old, soon to be 30.
Yeah.
I have to be very intentional about teaching my 16-year-old how to treat a woman, how to tie a tie, how to tip at a restaurant.
Watch out, watch out. Yes! Give me some. Give me some. Yeah.
So
One more time. Good job, bud.
That's just life. Life is good, but it's hard. Life is sweet, but there are some sour things that come along. And but through it all, my desire is that I finish strong.
You got 2 brothers and 3 sisters? Do you love them?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love you.
Perry Tuttle, along with Homer Jordan, really brought credibility to Clemson football. And that team, the team that won the national title in the '81 season, raised the level of expectation for ACC football across the country. I really don't believe the Atlantic Coast Conference was on the national map in college football until that team won the championship. Aaron's Football Saturdays in the South will be right back.